Hey Boo Buddies, Anya here, and it is time to set up for the month of July in our fabulous spooky bullet journals. In continuing with my Summer of Reading challenge and spookiness, I have chosen rainy days to be this month's theme. Because, as much fun as it is to be outside in the summer, there's also nothing quite so nice as spending a day inside when it's raining and curling up quietly with a good book. So that is the idea going on behind this month's theme of July. And I'm going to start off with my calendar page and my monthly goals and trackers. So as you can see, I started doing this graph tracker last month just to try it out, see how certain things could be seen throughout the whole month as a whole, and I really liked it, so we're going to give it another shot. And so as you can see, I've got the days of the month lined up with the days of the week on the top and the bottom, along with the moon phases, because that turned out to be something worth tracking. And then I'll be tracking 4 different things with 3 different counters along the sides. So getting the counters to line up is still not as lovely as I would like it. This is still a new idea for me, and I haven't worked out all the kinks yet, but that will come eventually. Because it is a rainy day theme, I have chosen to use grayscale with just a few pops of color. So I got into my Tombow gray marker set, and I will list the specific colors that I used below, but I think I only used 4 different grays, plus my fine liner, and then a couple pops of color that you'll see later on. But for the most part, this is all done from the grayscale color collection from the Tombow brush pens. And you'll also see I'm using the marker side and not the brush pen side a lot in this setup. And that's gonna help with giving me, first of all, those straight lines, because I really am enjoying something other than just fine liner outlining all the important things as we go. But it's also going to help me get that raindrop effect throughout the setup. I have done a few Boo with umbrella in the rain over the years, and I have to say it is worth repeating, because it is definitely it's always a hit with me in my own little private brain of, yay, I did that, I like that, and it never gets old to me. So the trick is, just if you want to do your own umbrella character, is to draw the things in the foreground first, so that you don't end up putting anything in the wrong place, which is why I do the little hands before I do the umbrella handle, and why I did the umbrella before I did Boo's head. I'm here to tell you that puddles are probably one of the most difficult things to draw, but I think these came out pretty great, and they took a couple tries. Not all of my puddles in this setup came out as wonderful as this, so just know that weird abstract concepts are sometimes hard to get across and be satisfying, like, puddles of water in a 2-dimensional format. Because I am using so much gray, this is one of the only non-gray colors that I am going to be using from the Tombow collection, which is my favorite little periwinkle 533 blue that I like to use for Boo shading. And especially since I normally use gray to shade Boo and give them some depth, I like to use the blue to make them stand out from all the gray that's going on. I decided to use, for a lot of the actual colors, to use colored pencils. And I'm here to tell you, no offense if they're your thing, but colored pencils, I do not like them. Only use them when it seems absolutely appropriate, but I get frustrated with how many times I need to go over, and how the direction and the blending and just the depth of color, I get frustrated. They're not my favorite, but they were the right choice. They added a nice muted texture and muted color that I could not get by using the same color with markers, and that was what I wanted to do for this rainy day spread. I'm going to do another cutout page just to separate the months of this quarter and really indicate that this is the start of a new month. I really liked this last month with the month of June, and I actually really like it when I do it. I just am usually too much in a hurry to get things going and use my planner that sometimes I'm like, I don't want to take the time to figure out how to do a cutout, but I'm really trying to slow down and focus on the things that make me happy in this journal, and this is one of them. So it's a nice little simple cutout that it's not really that far in, and getting around some of the water splashes, I probably should have thought that through a little bit better than I did. Oh well. The last things I need to put on my calendar setup for this month is, of course, my monthly goals and all the things that I'm going to try and achieve during the next 31 days. And, of course, my packages that I need to keep track of and what to be expecting. I didn't decide until this moment to go ahead and put the titles of everything in the clouds, and it's so obvious, and it brings so much joy to my juvenile little brain, but I thought I was going to do something fancier, and no, it's staring you in the face. Just do it. Put the titles in the clouds, and yeah, it made me so happy. Then I, of course, need to add some more gloom and gray to this rainy day and really make it nice and overcast, and make all of the highlights stand out a bit more by bringing some darkness to the background. Where I currently reside, we don't get rainy days and overcast days very often, and they are still a private little joy of when we do get them. They're just like a little rare gem that I always want to go and just make sure I enjoy them to the fullest and smell the rain and feel the crispness in the air and just enjoy the lack of sunshine and heat as its own little special something that I think it is. One of my favorite things about overcast rainy days is that, especially in the summer and springtime, is it makes all the other colors around them just seem like they're in high definition and just pop a little bit harder. So I know, like, I'm not the only one who feels this way, and rain and gray is actually a nice joy for a lot of people, and it's not just me. So this is very simple, very straightforward, very minimal color and marker usage, but you can see that I filled the space with some more raindrops to kind of give it that drizzle effect that I wanted to give the effect that you really can't like see through the rain, and I think it came out very, very neat and I'm just very happy with it. Now on to the first weekly spread. Because this is a rainy day theme, I decided to make all of my weekly spread and dashboard elements to be floating windows to give the effect of rain outside the windows. And so that took some extra counting and recounting and line drawing, and some of them didn't come out as straight as I would like, and I had to get a little, So I do my weekly boxes. I always do them horizontally across the spread because I like to be able to just see the whole week at a glance, and I like them to be 6 boxes across, and the current bullet journal I have does not allow me to do that with floating windows without getting into the margin. And so you'll see I cut the last one right here at the edge. I cut the margin, and so it's a little skewed, and I'm just gonna be happy with it because I really wanted that floating window effect. Next thing to do is my dashboard, and in the floating window way, and it got a little confusing. A couple places of just drawing boxes and making sure that I had the right number of boxes and the right size of boxes for everything. And sometimes consistency is more for your own sanity and not great for the aesthetic, but I think this came out pretty good. So I've got way more windows and lists than I like to admit, but I need them because life is just getting way busy during this summer. And so I have my habit tracker where I keep track of everything at a weekly scale instead of a by the month flip back and forth. And then my cleaning chore list, and then my meal plan and grocery list, and then of course the overall projects and what I'm doing that week and what I need to focus on besides checking all my lists, and having a revision checklist just for all of my writing and book projects has really been helpful. Even though I keep a lot of that in a separate notebook, having it in the day planner has been fabulous. If you are going to do block of color on the background of your spreads, I recommend that you put something behind it so that you don't worry about messing up your table, but you should probably put something like a piece of paper or a sticky note over the things you don't want to block out, which I didn't do, and I would have been way happier if I had, but I was eager to just, film this and get it all nice and pretty, and by pretty, of course, I mean dark and gloomy in the background. And again, I'm just using the same grays to really accent what's going on and make things stand out a little bit easier for use, but keeping everything nice and tidy and simple. I found this sparkly washi tape, foil tape, and I thought it kind of gave a nice shimmer of rain, so I used it over here on the edge because when you flip, you need to be aware of your cutouts and what is coming through when you turn the page. So this isn't perfect, but I think it's pretty darn good. I'm happy with it. Finally, it is time to add some Boo. And I did Boo and Cat. Cat is entering the mix this month. Boo and Cat sitting inside on a rainy day reading by the window, because that is the full effect that I wanted in this month's theme, and so we gotta get it on the page. In case it wasn't clear by some of the things I include in my spreads and how I track, I do make books when I'm not doodling in journals, and Boo is a featured character in my current series, but otherwise, it's just nice to have a nice little specter year-round, and of course cats are able to interact with such things, which is why Cat makes the perfect best friend and neighbor for Boo to hang out with. As you can see, I'm using a lot of the same gray marker to do a lot of different things, and I'm layering to give different tones of gray and kind of make certain things stand out as not the same object, but really just using only 2 grays to do the curtains and the window seat. And then of course the shading on Boo is our lovely blue again. And Cat is another feature that got the colored pencil treatment that I hate working with, but you know, sometimes it's the right tool. And especially to give the tones of fur that come from using pencil versus marker, but also to make Cat stand out from the other grays, since Cat is kind of a grayish black cat, and we wanted them to not get washed out and just kind of muted back in. So it doesn't show up quite so well on the camera, but in person it's very clear that Cat is separate from the background. Okay, now it is time to finish up the rest of the weekly spreads and all of our Cat and Boo doodles, and enjoy some music. To finish off our rainy day theme of this month, of course the rain will be done and there will be some rainbows, and I just went back and added some final touches. I had a lot of fun with this setup, and I hope you all found some inspiration for your own bullet journal setups, and I will see you in the next one, Boo Buddies.